I'm constantly waving to people, blowing one of the four horns. It's keeping people amused. That's the wonderful thing about the beta bird.
This one means a lot to me. I think I was about 7. Here I am here.
The Japanese kids to be singing, and I can still remember it. Dama ata mita iru arari sola.
We have a nice big dent in the fridge where I hit the fridge with my head.
The place on the left up here further is where his sweetheart was. So courtship was only just across the paddock for my grandfather and grandmother.
Enormous amount of damage done in Wageningen, our hometown. Dozens of houses destroyed completely, and others were sort of shot up badly. And our house was completely demolished. There was basically nothing left.
My mother's brother went out to Canada and he never saw his mother. So my mother could probably see the same picture happening if I came to Australia, which it did, because I never saw her again.
I've got a photo of my father shaking hands with Henry Ford II. My father went out of his way to service customers, to keep them happy. It's rubbed off on me. I like to keep people happy and give good service. And Henry, our Model T Ford, is still serving the public today, over 100 years old, by being in the beta birdwood, giving people pleasure and seeing that it's still going after such a long time.
Darwin was bombed, and the policeman came around with his lantern and said all the women and children have got to leave. And so my dear mother, she grabbed together whatever she could for each of us 3 children, and we were on that train.
And the bandmaster asked me if I'd play a trombone solo, which I thought, oh, I don't know that I can do this. But I practiced up, and I really enjoyed it. It really went over well, and I'm glad that he persevered with me and made me step out of my comfort zone and play a solo. At the end of the day, when you've had a blow and the people say, oh, how much I enjoyed it, it gives you a lift in yourself. Do you think, well, perhaps I'm not so bad after all?
Leonie and I went back to England, and that was my first trip back in 20 years. My brother and my dad, they ran across the tarmac to meet me, and I gave my brother the brandy or whiskey or whatever it was I'd bought for my dad, and he dropped it. And my first words in 20 years was, "You clumsy bugger." So that was my first impression.
Up there in the background, in the distance, you can see the mound, shooters being here and firing into that mound. And in front of that, there was a pit. And when I was young, as a kid, we used to earn a bit of pocket money by being the markers in those pits. The ammunition was all Second World War, and some of them were duds because occasionally one wouldn't get there. You'd get shad in dirt because they didn't quite make the distance.
Photos capture the image of the person, but the video captures the spirit, particularly with Mum, her sense of humour and her vitality, which you can't get from a photo. When
the Bridge Too Far occurred in September 1944, the Allies landed between Wageningen and Arnhem, so I can still remember being out on the street and watching the parachutes land.
I'm 91 now, and I've got a lot of years to look back over and a lot to be thankful for.
That, of course, is the homestead. That house is well over 100 years old, the original part. We've got photographs that will show what it was. After year 7, I left school. I was barely 14 and I came home to work on the farm with Dad, and that's all I'd ever wanted to do, was to be a farmer.
For her 90th birthday.
90?
No, 40.
I'm just really glad that we've done this at such a great time when it was celebrating Mum's 90th birthday. Really, what we've got now is actually priceless. You can't put a value on capturing Mum, her spirit, and the stories for us for the future. it's really priceless.
This chap here, they modelled him off of me. At Cap Yong, we got bombed by the Americans with napalm. You know, those sort of things, they're eye-openers. And I get a bit emotional over those sort of things because they're all good mates. That just points to the savagery of war.
What I did remember was that it had to be kept a secret. I mean, I can look at my sister and myself. We're totally different. And she had no idea that I was adopted until she was, I would say in her upper teens. And she thought she was the only one. And my mother certainly didn't want to own up that we were not her children.
Well, I remember hitting a train. Not everybody hits trains. There was no signs there in those days. There was no stop signs or anything. I've got a note he sent to say he was sorry he'd hit the train, as if you do it on purpose.
Steph sat there with Mum and they watched all of the full-length videos together, and Steph said it was so special. They both sat there with tears in their eyes at times.
I believe the lady standing on the back is probably my mother. Every boy's dream. A 1939 two-door Chev Coupe. My dad was a veteran of 2 world wars. He was an Anzac veteran, 9th Light Horse, and he lived through the 1930s Great Depression.
But I can truly say, I'm darn lucky I'm here. I mean, let's face it, it was somebody's mistake. There's all sorts of lives that wouldn't be here now if I hadn't have turned up at the wrong time somewhere else. I think I do tend to look on the optimistic side of things. And that way I enjoy it.
Oh, yeah, oh, God. Laurie learned to fly and I hated it. And I'd have to have a couple of medicinals to get in the plane. And all of a sudden I looked out of the window and I saw all this stuff coming out the wing. And I said to Tim, what's that? And it was petrol coming out of the wing. And they diverted us to Parafield instead. I couldn't get out of that plane quick enough, and I thought, no way am I flying back.
That first time of watching it is special, but I know I've sat and watched it again. There are going to be different stages in life where I'll sit down and watch the video again, and I'll get a whole lot of different sort of things out of it.
Hard fietsen, kom tussen de planken valt van de fiets af, val in het water, al het brood in het water. Dat was niet erg gezond ermee, ik ben blij ermee.
Life is good. It was the only way to go. There was no other life bar farming. It was great. You know, you just waited for the next rain, your anticipation of everything that was going to happen.
I think that the world would be a very sad place if we didn't have music.
I know what I'm lovely, but know what you do to me.
Tickle me, tickle me, tickle.
I'm so glad that I acted on the moment and did it. Make it happen. Don't let it just happen. Make sure that it does happen before it's too late.
Anyway, where were we? I told you I'd go off in orbit.